Meanwhile, the president of Eurasia Group says Washington is incapable of containing geopolitical risks and sees the United States itself as the top risk for 2024. Ian Bremmer told us the country's democratic institutions have suffered decades of decline and now face fresh threats.
When you have the former Secretary of Defense under Trump saying this man is a threat to democracy, he was in charge of American national security under Trump. When you have the person who is running having tried to subvert a free and fair transfer of power, doing everything in his power to do so, in a functional democracy, that would be the #1 issue of the election. Nothing else would be close. So is it that we're somehow getting our facts wrong? Or is it that the United States is not a consolidated functional democracy? Because there ain't no other advanced industrial democracies. No one else in the G7 is having the problems in legitimacy of its political institutions that the United States is experiencing in 2024.
What do you think it is?
Those are realities. What do I think?
What do you think it is? Do you think it is a functioning democracy?
No, I think it's a hybrid system. I think the U.S. democratic institutions have significantly eroded over the course of the past several decades. We have normalized that because all of the things that are unprecedented as they happen, and we still live here in the United States, we're basically saying, well, okay, I guess that's the way it works now. So impeachment doesn't work and we can impeach someone twice and they can still run again. I guess that's the way it works. You can have 91 indictments, and I guess that's the way it works. You can post and say things that you never would have heard. I guess that's the way it works. Now, as set against the context of the world's most powerful, very functional economy and the world's most functional, very powerful global defense capacity, you'd say, well, maybe it's okay that the United States isn't a functional democracy, but it will be different. And so, yeah, I think we can't normalize the dysfunction of the U.S. political system, the illegitimacy of its institutions, and the fact that democracy in 2024 in the United States is in crisis. That is the reality. And our allies know that. They're deeply worried about it, all of them around the world. And our adversaries see this as potentially a huge opportunity for themselves.
So where do you see us 12 months from now? What do things look like?
First of all, let's talk about March, April, May. Tom said you need to completely rewrite this then. When Trump gets the nomination, which is very, very likely, he will overnight become far more powerful on the U.S. and the global stage. All of the Republicans will be loyal to him in a way that right now they still have hedging capacity. And the media that is following and supporting Trump, and the ability to raise money to drive that campaign. And that means his policy pronouncements, like there would never be a war against Israel if I was president because I showed the Iranians, I announced that assassination of Qasem Soleimani. Well, that's going to be the policy for Trump and therefore the Republicans. Zelensky, corrupt. I'd end this war in a day. I'd show him what's what. I'm not going to give him billions and billions of dollars on the back of the American taxpayers. That becomes the policy. So the Overton window, right, of what is an acceptable policy frame debate in the United States is going to change very dramatically when Trump becomes the nominee. Again, assuming that. It's not given, but assuming that. And in 12 months' time, the stakes are a lot higher for both leaders than they ever have been before, right? So if Trump wins, Biden and many, many people around him believe that they will face legal jeopardy, that Trump will politicize the FBI, the DOJ, the IRS, and go after them in a McCarthyite, prioritization of policy, where Trump, of course, faces potential prison time. So the stakes are much, much higher than we saw in 2020.
Eurasia Group President Ian Bremmer there speaking with our colleague Jonathan Ferrer. Well, U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken says Israel must stop undercutting Palestinian governance and rein in settler violence. It's some of the most direct criticism of Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's government since the start of the Hamas war.